If you're a mom doing your best to raise your children well, and it seems like a fight and a fight that you're losing, in this video, I want to share with you the one answer to the question underneath it all that you're probably asking. And it is, what else is there for me to do? Like, what else can I do? I'm doing all of the things, and we're not making the progress that I had hoped, that I have envisioned. What else is there to do? I'm glad you've asked. Hey, I'm Vanessa. I am a retired pediatrician. I'm a stay at home mom. But before all of that, I am a woman who has taken her experience with childhood emotional neglect, and I've taken that pain and I've turned it into fuel. It has become what is the source of my passion for families and the honor that moms have in shaping those families. And so it's a real privilege for me to be able to share this time with you. And if you're new here, welcome. Glad you're here. You've missed out on a couple of videos that need some more context, and that's what this video is for. Previously, we were talking about the importance of family, why family matters, what family is, what family means, not only to like your literal bloodline, your family lineage, but also what your family means to society at large, the impact that your family can have beyond the four walls of your home. And as we've talked about that, we've talked about how a strong family is one that you have envisioned. It doesn't just happen, you don't just throw it together. It doesn't just sort of work itself out. Although the biology to make a family for most of us is quite easy, what goes into making a family as opposed to just having children is a lot of intention, a lot of vision. It takes a foundation. When you build a house, you build on a foundation, and then there's boundaries like the walls of a house. So we talked about that previously. We've also talked about how sometimes we back into having a family a whole different way. We just started having children. Didn't mean to just start having children, and we're not in a dynamic that's best for raising those children. And so we start from the day that we know better and we start doing better. But today, I wanted to talk about an integral part of this whole thing because, sure, I'm a pediatrician. And sure, I've had a lot of practice at this mom thing, being a stay at home mom for over 20 years. But my background does not set me up to be in front of this camera talking to you. My background as a child growing up in a two-parent home where they did practically and financially the best they could to make sure I had all of the things. All of the things did not include the sort of emotional input, the genuine care and concern, particularly from my mother. My relationship with my mom is quite a complicated one where there was very little affection, very little emotion, and the overwhelming messaging that I was cramping her style, that I was maybe necessary, for the marriage to be good, but not wanted in and of myself, not someone that she wanted to really invest herself in, to love and to nurture, and all the things that people typically think of and ascribe to their mom when they're getting an award and they want to say, I want to thank my mom. And the string of things that follows after that, yeah, that's not the string of things that I would say. Love her anyway. She is who she is. And I had a choice. Having had that experience, I had a choice to say, well, what am I going to do? This is what I got. I don't like what I got. And what I got is not what I want to pass on to my children. And so, what am I going to do different? Where am I going to get the information from? Because I'm not wanting to repeat what I experienced. How do I know how to do it better? If you're enjoying the content, this would be a great time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Okay, let's get back to the video. And yes, I've talked before about the other women that I've come across in my life who have modeled motherhood before me, and I've taken little bits and pieces from. I've talked about my sister and how she was in many ways a surrogate mother for me when I was very young. I've talked about that, but I gotta be honest and tell you that if you, whether you've had a great mother or not, but especially if you had the not, if you did not have a great mother, you don't just because you decide I'm going to do something different, it doesn't mean automatically that you're going to be different. There's a lot of stuff that you kind of crud you have to come out of and come from under. There are ways that you have thought about yourself based on how you were treated, and all of that has to be torn down and rebuilt for you to have a more accurate sense of who you are, an accurate sense of what a mother's role is in a child's life, in a family's life, the importance of it, and then to be able to own it and walk in it. That is an entire process. And I can tell you all day long about vision and foundation and boundaries and all the things. But there is a piece that without this piece of the puzzle, you'll just be spinning your wheels. Let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to tell you from this book, my Bible. Psalm 127, verse 1 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain." That's the first part of the first verse in Psalm 127. And it's what I want to talk to you about today. The Lord is the center of my life, and He is the reason. He is the reason that I even have the ability, the words to put together for how to establish a family that has a positive, healthy legacy. He is the one who had to put this family together, who had to build this house, to build this home, to build this family. And when I look at, there's some key words in that verse that I looked up the original meaning of. And, you hear build and you think exactly what I've been talking about, pouring a foundation and framing, and you need your roof. And, I talked about all of that. But when you look up that word in the Hebrew, it gives you the visual of a house that is alive with grace. It's full of grace. There's grace all throughout it. And if you don't know what grace is your needs being met, not because you deserve them, but because you're desperate. It's you being supplied with everything that you need because you desperately need them. And you know that you can't find it in yourself. You can't conjure it up. You can decide, but you can't demand it of yourself. Something, someone has to deposit in you the things that are missing. And then that is what can be built on for you to execute whatever it is. In this case, we're talking about what it takes to build a family. And unless the Lord built this family, I would have nothing to be saying to you, because what I'd be doing is just trying to, okay, at best, whatever she did, whatever my mom did, I'll do the opposite. That's what we tend to do. We tend to approach parenting, especially if we didn't have a close to ideal design, because nobody has a perfect upbringing. I don't care what they tell you on social, nobody does. But those who have had one close to ideal, you just figure they just rinse and repeat. Like, I'll just keep doing what I saw. There's no guarantees in that, but at least you have something to go off of. But when you don't really have anything that you like to go off of, then the knee jerk reaction is, okay, I just won't do any of what happened at my house. Well, that's not wisdom either, because nobody is all good or all bad. And so the excellent thing to do, if you have the bandwidth, if you have the grace to do it, is to sit and sift through. And if you need help from a counselor to do it, then great. And look through and go through what your childhood was like, and look for the baby and throw out the bathwater. Sure, some people have more bathwater than they care for. Throw all of it out. But look for the gems. Look for the baby in that bathwater and hold on to what is precious, and get rid of the rest. And then based on what is you have left, then you build on that. But I tell you, the recognizing what was helpful or healthy or useful or a blessing in your childhood can be hard to find, because your perspective could be one of bitterness, resentment, hatred, anger, depending on what you've been through. And you need to look at it through new eyes. Only the Lord can give you the grace to see your mother or to see your childhood, whatever the dynamic was, whatever occurred, to see it in a way where you are a little bit removed, where it's not so fresh, not so painful, not so tender, and you can have perspective. He gives you the grace for that. He gives you the grace to give yourself the compassion that you were never given. You were mishandled, mistreated, and people did it casually and they thought nothing of it. And then you were left to figure it out and to heal and to cope. You need that grace to care for yourself so that you could even begin to be curious about what was going on with that person that they treated me that way as a child. Because if you can't do that, then you won't be able to look at that situation and say, okay, this part aside, this right here, this this was good. This was good, and this is what I want to hold on to. All of this was trash, but this and this and this right here, this I want to hold on to. One of the, and this is another example of the grace the Lord gave me. One of the things I did, I don't know if it was before I got married, I don't remember, or if it was when my kids were still young, was to give each of my parents, they each had their own. I typed out sort of, I'll call it an honorarium, and I framed it and I thanked them. I thanked them for what they did for me. I listed those things. My dad's was much easier than my mom's. It took me a while to even think of things that I would thank her for, but it was important that I did. It was part of my healing. That was not my idea. That's not something that occurred to me. That is something the Lord encouraged me to do and then gave me the grace to do it. And it was very healing and very freeing, because when you're a child and things happen to you, that's what you take away from it. It happened to me, as in I am a victim, because you're already a child, you're already small in the world, you're already overlooked, you're already except for your parents, if they're healthy, no one else is caring about you. They care about their own child. But children and the elderly are thought of last. I know that as a pediatrician, and policy regarding children. People have to fight for things regarding children. Um, and so it was important that I didn't go into motherhood with that little girl mentality that I am a victim, that I had this mother and that my mother happened to me and woe is me and I have nothing to work. No, I searched and I dug for something that I could thank her for, even thanking her for having me because she did not have to. And that gave me power. It gave me power to say, yeah, things happen to me, but I have a say in how I interpret them. I have a say in how I fit them into my life and the power that I give them. I have that say. And so I say all these things to you because, like it said, if you don't have the Lord building your house, and if He is not the one establishing your house with grace, as in grace for yourself and grace for everybody in the family, that you have grace for each other. That no, you don't pick your family. This is biology, it's genetics, and you get what you get, and give them grace for that. They didn't come wired the way they are to drive you crazy. It's just how God wired them. Just like it's how He wired you, and you frustrate whoever you frustrate in your family. So, the way to get past that is to give yourself and each other grace, and let grace be part of the foundation and the fabric of your home. that as much as possible, we're going to live at peace with each other. And how are we going to do that? We're going to need grace. And who is the one that's going to give us this grace? The Lord is. Um, so yeah, it has to be, grace has to be in the mix. Otherwise, all that you're doing in envisioning and having a foundation and setting boundaries and spending time with your children and going on dates with each of your children and putting them in activities and then going to support them in the activities, working extra hard so you can pay for the private school because you want them to have the best, like all that stuff that you're doing, that is absolutely wonderful, absolutely credible, absolutely wonderful if you can do those things. So, to whatever degree you're able to do what you are hoping will be the best for your children, by all means do that. But this verse says that if you do all of that and you don't have the Lord at the center of your family, at the center of your life, all that you're doing is in vain. That word vain, girl, that word vain is the picture of you are just working really hard. And not only is it falling apart, you're falling apart. And so it's no wonder that you are exhausted. It is no wonder that you are frustrated because you're putting so much effort into what you believe is best for your family. And you are trying hard in spite of what you experienced growing up. And it is like doing it in quicksand. You're not making progress, or some of the same things are happening, some of the same patterns that you've seen in your family before that you were desperately hoping that you could erase and get rid of. You're seeing it again, and you're seeing it because you're depending on your efforts by yourself. You're depending on you and your husband to figure it out and muddle through and push through. That's not going to get it. You have to put the person who loves you, loves your husband, loves your family. He has to be at the center. He's actually the God of families. That's how he describes himself. He describes himself as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are three generations of the same family. And he does that to let us know that he doesn't just intend to be one person's God. He intends to be the God of your entire family. And then when the kids in your family have children, he intends to be the God, their God as well. He intends to be the God of generations. And one of the purposes for family is for one generation to tell the next about who God is, the one who put them together, the one who is gracing them to function and flow and flourish together. One generation telling another. That's part of the function of a family. And when a family is founded on that principle, you have another player in the mix who works things out that you cannot work out yourself. You can't work it out yourself. If you're enjoying the content, this would be a great time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Okay, let's get back to the video. I'm in a season now where I have two, my sons are in their 20s and my daughter is 15. I've got to tell you, if you haven't had teenagers yet, there comes a time where everything just gets way more intense and things are happening fast and furious. There are mood swings. There's just rebellion that come, like, you don't know where that comes from. You're waiting for your child's head to literally do a 360 because the things that are coming out of their mouths, it's like, what are you, like, what? The only way that I have been able to make it through is because I've also had another person to entrust each of those children to. If left to my own thoughts and processes and strategies and devices, and I'm telling you, I have many. You can imagine. If you've seen the videos, you can imagine. I, I'm a girl who will come up with a strategy. There comes a point where you realize this is beyond me. This is beyond me. And as much as I can see where this is going, if it doesn't turn around, there's actually nothing I can do to fix it. And if it was not for the Lord and me being able to say, here you go, Here's this son, and here is this daughter. If I were not able to do that, I'd have more gray hair than I have right now. He has made all the difference to be able to entrust my children to him and myself to him, that he would give me the wisdom I need. Because let me tell you, he not only knows me, he not only knows you, he knows each of your children. He made them, he knows them expertly. He knows how to communicate to them in a way you don't. He knows how they would receive it, how they would best receive it in a way that you haven't figured out yet, as well as you know your kids. He knows them better. And so when you can admit that you are desperate and you are at the end of yourself and you say, okay, God, you got this. I give them to you. I have no idea what to do at this point. He goes, great. I got grace for that. And he comes in and maybe he'll give you a strategy. Maybe he'll give you something to say to them. Maybe he will all of a sudden give your words weight with them, a favor, where you said the same thing to them last week and it meant nothing. But then when you say it this week, they receive it and they act accordingly. And you're like, but what happened? I said this, that's favor. He gave you grace. And you didn't do anything different. You didn't come up with anything different. You just admitted that I only can do but so much, that I am a role player, that I didn't make myself. I didn't make these children. I made it possible for them to be here, but I did not knit them together in my womb. God did that. And he knows them and he knows me. He knows why I am their mother. He knows what about me and he knows what about you makes you the perfect mother for the children that you have. And he also knows your limitations in that role. You're not supposed to be everything to them. You're not supposed to have everything figured out. And this lie that we believe, that we are supposed to have it all together. And so that when we see things not coming together, now we have mom guilt. That is your invitation to receive grace. You're not supposed to feel guilty. You're supposed to feel ill-equipped. You're supposed to recognize, oh, I have come to the end of my abilities here. Thank you, Lord. I pass this child on to you. Looking forward to seeing what you're going to do about that and how you're going to take care of me also in the meantime. And it's just a much more peaceful and positive way to live because it's accurate. It's just accurate to know that you and I are role players. We have a significant role. We are the nurturers. We are the shapers. We are the atmosphere setters. We are the discerners. We are the ones that can see our children and we're like, something's not right with that child. And even if we don't know exactly what the issue is, we know something is not right. What do you do when you don't know something's not right? Sure, you can tear up their room looking for evidence of the things. I mean, you can go through their phone looking for evidence of the things. But at some point, you just get on your knees and you say, Lord, I don't know what's going on with this child and I can't fix it, but you can. And so if you want to involve me in it, great. Tell me what to say. Tell me what to do. I'll do it. But if it's none of my business and you got it, I'm going to let you get it because I have enough in life to do. And I don't need to make up problems for myself, make up job roles that are not mine. I have enough going on. And you want to take care of me as much as you want to take care of my children and this family. And so I'm going to let you do that. So I would have been remiss if I made another video, and I will make other videos talking about family dynamics and what makes it smoother. But I want you to know that what I'm talking to you about was first given to me by the Lord. It's rooted in the Bible, in principles in the Bible, from verses that I find there. And I have internalized it and made it practical for everyday living. And I've applied it to my family and I share it with you because there's nothing in this word that lies. God cannot lie. And if he said, unless he builds the house, those of us busy building our houses are doing it in vain. We are wasting our time and we're just going to be frustrated. I don't want you to be frustrated. Does that mean that you will never have a bad day, that your children, be still in this world? and life is still what life is, but you have a hope and you have help, and hope and help makes all the difference. I would love to hear in the comments what you have to say about what I've shared. If you are a mom who has been doing the best you can, but you feel like you have been going backwards or sideways or halfway crazy, put Mama Bear in the comments. Mama and then BARE, because over here we are bare, we are real, we tell the truth about how things are happening and if they're not happening and how it's stressing us out. So put Mama Bear in the comments if you resonated with anything that I shared today. And I do want you to remember that when it comes to you being the mother of your children, you are the woman for the job. And I will see you next time. Take care.